Hello and welcome to the Two Bridges Loop. I think it's the third or fourth race in the Winter League. In with the B pen now, 6 seconds before the start. A 27.8 kilometre route with 4 laps for the A, Bs and Cs, 1 minute staggered intervals. I could just see Blackham shooting off in the front there. Let's see if we can pick someone up. In fact, that was the Bs that have gone. Sitting back with the C's there for a moment. Mayhew Smith. Just sit with Mayhew Smith for a moment as riders get underway. So 27.8 kilometres, 323 metres of climbing, 81 metres per lap. So each lap is about 6.8 kilometres long. No lead-in on this particular course. 27, I think, riders from BCC in total, 4 in the A's. Also with Charles moving up to the A, so good luck to him in that. He's risen rapidly through the ranks. Some, I think it's 16, 17 riders in the Bs, 3 in the Cs and 4 in the Ds. So unusual again to see more D riders than category C riders, probably because everyone's moved up. So an interesting course, and not that hilly, but there are enough bumps in it to make a difference. And of particular interest is the last climb, which is not particularly long, but it rises up about 1.5 kilometres, I think it is, away from the finish. So that's the opportunity to make a break, push over the top, and then it's a downhill sprint back to the finish line. So the A's are already underway, started 1 minute ahead. And we are now with Lancia, who rode well in the last race Thursday for most of it and then dropped a little bit further back during the field. Empson, I expect this course will suit him quite well. Good climber. Campbell in there, going from strength to strength, feeling a little tired recently, so will be interesting to see how well he performs tonight. Van Kalik, always a bit nervous on the downhills. Could be stronger than he's been performing recently, but he's new to this series of Zwift racing. So I suspect once he gets his feet under the table, so to speak, he'll be pushing up towards the front of this group. So this is close to the front of the category B riders. No sign of Davis. I'm sure he's in here somewhere. See if we can find him. And then I can just see the A's up ahead. The Stoneham, Angus, both Stoneham's riding tonight. They are 1 minute 12 seconds ahead. Don't forget they started 1 minute further ahead than Cat B, so there's a 12-second difference in real time. But no sign of Davis yet. Well, let's see if we can find him. Tough. So already the category B riders are beginning to stretch out. Tough is now 5-6 seconds away from Stoneham. Marcus here at 2.4 kilometres in. So a gap is occurring already. Looking back, you just see that other group disappearing off into the distance. Stoneham not been riding in the Bs for too long, but he has been riding exceptionally well and still getting faster. There's Ketley in there as well. Finished, I think, Group 2 of the Bs in the last race. So at the moment, the whole collection of BCC riders in here. We'll have a quick look at the front of the race, just to see if we can see. There's a Davis, not the right Davis, but A Davis. There's Charles. Let's have a quick look at Charles. This is his first race in category A. 4 watts per kilo, 340 watts, 4% climb, heartbeats up there at 166. and Tom is in that group as well, along with Stoneham. So it's Tom and Stoneham that are likely to be battling each other out towards the end of this race. The win for the two of them often switches hands, but I wouldn't underestimate Charles just yet. It will be interesting to see how well he manages the pace. I think he's every bit as strong as Tom. I can't see Stoneham anymore. Where it tends to sit towards the back early on. In fact, there he is. Stoneham. 4.5 kilometers and 6 minutes into the race. Well, while those riders begin to settle a little bit further and get underway, moving back through the Bs, any sign of Davis, Blackham, Lancia. There is Davis. For a moment there, I thought he hadn't started, which would be most unlike him. Sitting at 3.5 watts per kilo. Moving back, Langham, Campbell, Mayhew, Smith, Ketley towards the back of the group. It's still with Group 1. This looks as if this is still Group 1. Just trying to move back through the field, quite difficult. And here is the second group of B riders, not the first group. This is the second group. No, it's still the first group. There we go. So this is the second group. Shannon, Taft, I can see. Civitar's in there as well. In fact, Civitar's even further back, obviously not racing full speed tonight. Might just be going out for the exercise and a bit of fitness. He's certainly faster than this. And let's have a look further back now for our Category C riders. So, Oliver White, late entry. I'll just put him down on our list. Has been riding well recently, so hasn't been in a race recently, I should say, but has been riding well prior to that. So I think the C's could be between him and Littlewood on this occasion. Littlewood, very consistent rider at the moment with May and Nixon. Nixon I'd expect to be further up, but it's early days yet, 4.4 kilometres, just undoubtedly riders are waiting to settle, see what's going to happen. And as a reminder again, the different groups have started at 1 minute intervals. We'll have a quick look at the Ds. There's Civitar, in fact, right towards the back. 180 watts, 115 on the heartbeat, so he's certainly not racing. And here we go. We've got Jones. That's Rob Jones, just if I can get on it. There he is. Rob Jones, Andy Telford in there as well, looking for, you know, this was to have Carmel Lord should be in here as well. And so should Gavin Cullen. Let's have a look, see if we can see them. So the D category has spread out pretty quickly. There's Carmel Lord. No sign of Cullen. Unless I've missed him. I wouldn't expect him to be up the front. It's entirely possible though. He's a fairly determined rider when he wants to be. There he is, in fact. So he is riding well. That's really good to see, actually. At 2.9 watts per kilo he was just there. So he's not at the front of Category D, but he's well up in the field, along with Rob Jones, in fact, right next to him. So Rob, I expect to be a fitter rider, but Cullen potentially a little bit stronger. So let's see what happens throughout this race, and Telford's in there as well. So they are now at 4.5 kilometers. And they will just, once they've crossed this bridge, they move into one of the largest climb of the course is shortly after this bridge. Up to the top of that, then a sprint, well, it could be a sprint, but a sort of 1 kilometer, I think it is, fast section, maybe a little bit over, down to the finish. So we've missed the A's, B's and C's going over the top. We'll have a look at these riders, see what happens. Climb not arrived yet, but it should fairly shortly, if I remember correctly. It's got to 1%, the gradient. Cullen's at 203 watts, heartbeat 147. A man as young as him can probably push that a little bit harder. And it looks as if the gradient's beginning to ramp up now. Rob Jones is 1 meter further back. But at the same time, Telford in there as well, 4%. Certainly, if Cullen keeps this up, he'll very quickly move into the next category, category C. And here's the crux of the climb, 11-12%, up to 3.5 watts per kilo. He's pushing really hard, 300 watts, over 300 watts, which seems to be dropped a little off that group, but still with Jones, who's right behind him. Telford he's pulled away from Telford, so this is quite a remarkable performance so far. This is very impressive. This is only his second race. So this is a rider that is clearly going to get faster quite quickly. And I don't think I've mentioned before, but the D's are riding 3 laps tonight. So just, let me see, work out that 22 kilometers as opposed to 27.8. Sorry, a bit less, maybe 21 kilometers, something like that. And here is the downhill now. So this is the time to push. He looks as if he's just sitting up and relaxing, but great advantage to push over the top of the hill and push on for 5 or 6 seconds. It's just enough quite often to break the other riders. Jones and Telford 3 seconds behind. That's the view they have of Cullen in front of them. They probably didn't expect to see that. And here's the downhill now. Just under 1 kilometer to the finish. This is an opportunity to super tuck. Will Cullen give that a try? Let's have a look. No, he's not. And perhaps he doesn't know about the super tuck, but I think it's 58 kilometers once you get up to anything over 3% or minus 3%. That's a great opportunity just to recover a little bit. He's pushed on though. And at this rate, he will catch up with the leaders of Category D. Quite common for many of the leaders of Cat D to get disqualified for being overpowered. So he's maintained his gap from Jones and Telford, and that is them and just coming under the bridge behind. In fact, increased it by a second or two, now up to 5 seconds. So we'll come back to Cullen and the exciting events in the D's a little bit later. Let's move up to the front of the field and work our way back, see what's happening. So this is the front of the field with Tom at 11.2 kilometers. This is on their second lap. It just started. Charles is still there as well. Fury has been riding very well recently. Katie, as opposed to Mark. I think it's her turn on the Watt bike this evening. Has the green jersey. Nice to see. Sitting comfortably in there at this stage. Her objective will be to hang on to these guys as long as she can. And I haven't seen Louisa. I think she was riding tonight. I'm sure she was, in fact. So we have at the moment Charles, Fury, Stoneham, Tom. And I thought Lisa was riding, but maybe not. So all still together at this stage at 12 kilometres in. And it looks as if Blackham is leading the charge for the Bs. Now 1 minute 26 behind the A's. So as usual, I can't tell you whether it's the A's pulling away or the Bs dropping back, but nonetheless the gap between the A's and Bs has widened slightly. Not significant, but it always helps the Bs if they believe they're catching the A's. So the group is largely rotating around. Lance here, Campbell, the big guys of the field. This could be a course that, although they might not think it, could actually suit them quite well. The smaller rolling hills, they have the momentum to power through that. The flat sections, they certainly have the advantage. And if they can hold on up the one large climb, which for them will be back to about 11, in fact we just missed it, or is it just coming up? I said about 11.8, but we're on 12.1 kilometres. It's coming up, I think, so we might just stay around with Cat B at the moment, see what happens on this next climb. But as I'm saying, if they can just push up this climb, then they have the advantage of the downhill section with their weight behind them as well. So it is a course that could play to their needs. And in fact, this group is already just beginning to split in two. And have a look behind, there's the other half of the group further back. Just try and get a time gap to that group behind, about 6 seconds. Davis, Simpson, Lancier, Campbell all in the front group. Mayhew Smith, in fact, is in the group towards the rear. He's dropped off. At least, as far as I can tell, on Zwift at the moment, but not always possible to tell. Have a look at Davis now, 440 watts, so he's certainly pushing very hard up this hill. Campbell's at 6 watts per kilo. They are all preparing themselves for the downhill, and here it comes. They all want to get ahead at this point. Slight dip over this next rise, and then it's a downhill section. No, maybe not. Maybe I've got the wrong point in the course here. Where are we? 13.1 kilometres. Oh, here it comes. Just a little bit early. So the steepest descent in the course. Let's see who goes into the super tuck. Need to get to 58 kilometres per hour. Steep enough. Riders beginning to tuck now. Who's still pedaling? Davis is in the super tuck. Benson still pedaling. No, he's gone into a super tuck. Lancier, super tuck. So most of the riders taking advantage of the super tuck there, which is great. Just gives a moment to recover. The hill's not over yet, and now we come out of the hill as it approaches the start-finish line once again. So over halfway through the race. Doesn't look as if anyone's made a break yet. And I'll be careful as best I can not to try and miss the finish, but now on finish 2 laps. Now on to the 3rd lap. And this is the second group of Group B, about 20 seconds behind the leading B group. In here, Heckley, Kalik, Langen is drifting off towards the back of it at the moment. Mayhew Smith drifting further back. This is a rider that's frequently up towards the front and with the fast end of the Bs, not the pointy end, and quite often with the As as well, as reported not riding as well as he often does recently, but that might just be a temporary thing. Kalik managed to survive the downhill section. Langen, 168 watts. Heartbeat's quite high. Fairly normal for him, I think, though. Let's have a look. Reasonably so. And in the C's, let's see what's going on. Back there is Taft, a further 30 seconds back. This is the third group of Category B riders. And Stonham's in there as well. Taft and Stonham, Shannon. So Stonham not riding perhaps as well as I'd expect. Normally faster than Shannon, certainly since his promotion. I may have that wrong, but that's what I remember. So apologies if I do. But this group, Stonham, Taft, Shannon, I expect they'll stay close to each other for most of the rest of this race. And in the C's now, Littlewood and Nixon and White all still together. If I left anyone off, May was expected to be just a little bit further back. There he is, at 11 seconds further back. And here is the large climb, if we call it that. It's significant enough to make a big difference. And let's have a look and see what's happening in Category D. With Lord. If I can find the other D riders, that's the challenge here. And it might be difficult to find them. At 16.8 kilometres, Stonham seems to have separated himself from the front of the A group. In fact, Jury is 28 seconds, 30 seconds behind him, but it looks as if, be careful to try and not lose anyone, Tom and Charles, I suspect, are still up at the front of this race, so they are both doing very well, and in particular Charles, he is really going for it. I'm not even sure if he's got to 10 races yet. Can't look at the moment, but it's certainly less than 20. Holding at 3.8, 3.5 watts per kilo. Heartbeats come down just a little. About 10 kilometres left for these riders. And this will be, I think they might be approaching the climb again shortly. Now, I'd still like to get a view on where the B riders are, so apologies for one moment, just while I scroll back through them. Carmel. There they are. So this is not the front of the D group, it's quite a way back in fact, but let's have a look and see how Cullen is performing against Jones and Telford. In fact, he's doing very well by the looks of it. So it's some 38 seconds ahead of Telford, who frequently battles it out with Rob Jones. So Cullen at 13 kilometres. Having a quick drink. Heartbeat's gone up a bit, so he's settled in now. And we can just find Jones. That there is Jones, 14 seconds further back. So Telford has pulled 9 seconds away from Jones. That will be Jones just coming over the brow of the hill behind him. And that will be Cullen at 55 kilometres per hour. Is he going to take advantage of the super cup this time? Let's have a look. Now we're already off the climb, so missed that. So this will be the last lap for the D category. Albert May by himself, about 20 seconds ahead of the rider behind him, not even in sight, and a category A rider just ahead of him. So here we have going up through the field, Nixon, Littlewood and White still together at 16.2 kilometres. And let's now see if we can find the main field. It's always busiest here. Towards the back of the beads now, Shannon, Tarp, Stoneham at 17.5 kilometres, 198 metres of climbing completed, about 323 in total for this race. So this is a new course. It consists of, I think it's a new link road section. It usually consists, or does consist of many of the familiar routes, but in a different configuration. This course came out in December of last year. It's nice to see a new course actually. So moving up through the B's. 34 seconds further ahead, this group of B's, no one from BCC there. And a further minute ahead, the next, about this group of B riders, about 1.5 minutes ahead of Stoneham and colleagues. So here we have Ketley, Langen, Kalik, and in this group I fancy Ketley for the win. And let's see what happens here. So is Ketley going to push up the hill? He's a good climber. I think he is. And Mayhew Smith there is in danger of being distanced. If he doesn't hold on to this, Ketley's pushing out 5.2 watts per kilo. Mayhew Smith not quite holding that pace. As he pulled out a gap, he has a 1 second gap. Not much, but if Ketley takes advantage in his left-hand turn as we approach the steep downhill, keeps the pressure on, which I think he is doing, but then Mayhew Smith is responding as well. Kalik looks as if he's dropped off a little bit, another second behind Mayhew Smith. Let's have a quick look. That's the view from Kalik, with Mayhew Smith just in front of him. We are now together. He's trying to push. In fact, he's pushing quite successfully, catching up with Ketley, and there he is. He's taking advantage of, on his Trondike, taking advantage of the super tuck, which is a great tactic, even if only for a few seconds. Just gives the body that fraction of a second to recover. So still in the super tuck, now begins to pedal again. And that's pulled him ahead of Ketley and Mayhew Smith. So that was a good move. Now moving back up through the field. I don't think we'll Here we are, Campbell. Let's see what's happening in the main group. Is Campbell still with the main group? So Campbell, O'Brien, Lancier, Jury, I've just seen drifting back from the A's. I think I saw that. Davis is in there as well, as is Blackham. So they're all still together. And this must be the final lap. It is indeed. This is the final lap now for this group. And Stoneham, Angus, just with two other riders, about 35, 38 seconds ahead of the Bs. So they're chasing them down rather rapidly. The trick is, where are the rest of the A's? "23 kilometres for Charles, so I will try my best to stay with these riders, at least be back to them before the finish. And they next go up a climb, the big climb, in about 2 kilometres. So I won't go far away. So Tom and Charles still leading the field here. Charles in 7th position overall out of 25 Category A riders. If he keeps this improved performance up, he'll be an A+ rider in no time at all. May in fact even be there now with the way he's riding. 378 watts. Heartbeats come down just a little. Good position to be in at this stage. So they are already 1 lap ahead of Category D. But both groups will finish roughly the same time. Let's have a look in the Cat B. So Stoneham Angus at 23.2, and here is chasing B group. At the moment, Blackham's in the front. Some, it was 30 seconds, 39 seconds perhaps, behind Angus Stoneham. There is Jury as well. So Lancier, Davis, Blackham, Campbell, I'm sure he's there. Ensign still there, good to see. And the second group of B riders now 23 seconds further back. And Brian in there as well. Campbell, let's just see how well. So the two, Campbell and Lancier, next to each other. And they are about to, or will catch up with the rear end of the Category D riders. You might just see that happen. But I think rather than wait, I'm going to go back up to the front and try and catch. I'll just stay here, just in case I can't get back. I'll stay with the Cafe riders now until the finish. In fact, they're about to catch up with Gavin Cullen. He's 12 seconds ahead at this stage at 18.2 kilometres. These riders are on 25.4. Cullen is coming in for a finish as well. So they looks as if they'll get to. They've both got about 2 kilometres to go to the finish, so I suspect the A's will get there first. In fact, that might be Cullen on the bottom of the screen right now, about the right distance. And that aerial shot. And behind Tom is the group of 7-8 riders here. Tom, Charles are leading the field for BCC. Tom didn't expect this, probably. Someone he probably doesn't know, hasn't ridden with. 26 kilometers, about 1,800 meters left. This is where it will start to get interesting, or could do. Expect to see one or two riders trying to make a break. Not much of an opportunity to get away, make a break, but if they do, it will be a full-on attack, really. And this little peloton is more than big enough and fast enough to catch up with any individual rider, certainly if they work together. So 26.5 kilometers, 36 minutes into the race, riding at 41 kilometers per hour. Tom's heartbeat 182. Charles in comparison 167. Wattage wise, Tom 6.1, Charles 6 as well. So holding pace with each other. There's the climb. Some power ups are coming out. They've been saved just for the last climb. That's a good move. Look at the riders behind though. 8 watts per kilo, 9 watts per kilo. Charles at 9.9, 11. Let's watch Charles, see how well he does. Right next to Tom at this stage. They're going to swap back and forward. Tom at 9 watts per kilo, Charles 7.5, 8.2, 27.2 kilometers. Here comes the downhill. This is where it will all go a little bit mad. Now is the time to go, guys. If someone's going to try it, it's a long way out. Charles in second position. He's not pulling away from anyone. There is the group just sitting, waiting right behind him. There's the steep section. Tom, I think that is in the yellow kit, moves into the lead. One rider in category A is 7 seconds further ahead. Still taking advantage of the super tough Charles. That's a good move. Just needs that tiny bit of recovery. Now it's time to go, 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 go. Come on, guys, let's go. Riders behind are beginning to wind it up a little bit. Finish line will come into sight very shortly. No one's trying, no one's, well, they're all trying, but no one's going to attack at this stage. It's going to be a bunch sprint. Small bunch, but that's what it's going to be. Tom is in front ahead of Charles, just in this small group. It looks like Tom just overtaken May, almost on the finish line. There is the finish line. It's just round this corner to the left. Charles at the moment, Tom. Charles is leading Tom. Charles at 10.2 watts per kilo. Another power up, the Aero one. That's a great place to have that. Looks as if Charles is in third position. Is he going to hold third position? I think he is, yes. It looks as if he did. Charles has won. What a remarkable performance. Well done. Might just be able to catch, if they're really lucky. And D's crossing the finish line. Looks as if I'll get there in time. Here we go for the finish of the B's. Campbell looks as if he's dropped off by a second or so, but it's still Campbell, Lancier, Empson, Davis, who I left out. Blackham is in there as well. Blackham's got a good sprint on him, so is Lancier. Let's see what Davis is doing. 169, he's got more in his heart than that. Empson up the front at the moment. There's Stoneham ahead. In fact, they're about to catch up with Stoneham. There is Stoneham. It seems to be Lancier at this stage in the front. I can just click on him. Still Lance here. Finish line will come into sight now. Who's going to wind it up first? Blackham's going for it. Blackham's pushing hard. Blackham's closing the gap very quickly. So is Davis. Still Lance here in the front. Davis is overtaking him. So is Blackham. Looks like it's going to be... Let's have a look. Looks like it might be Davis. And I think it was Davis. Jensen crossing a line. Cullen has finished, so missed him crossing a line, but nonetheless, looks as if it was a fantastic race for him. And if I can just catch the rest of the bees coming in now. There they are. Ketley and Kalik. Let's see. Ketley up to 10.4 watts per kilo. Irfan responded, but has backed off a bit. Looks as if it's going to be Ketley. In fact, it was Ketley. Great sprint there, nicely timed. See who we have left on the field. Taft and Shannon, I think, are next on course. So in this group, Taft, Shannon, Stoneham, Civita. If Civita's got over his just relaxing ride, I suspect he could, well, beat the rest of these guys on the sprint. He's certainly quite capable of it. A bit cruel at this stage, just to sort of sit there for the race and then overtake them right at the end. That's what it's all about. They are approaching the top of the final climb. I was Taft pushing ahead. Shannon's right with him on the left there. Stoneham's just moved ahead. Stoneham's got a good sprint on him as well. So this is going to be another bunch sprint. At the moment, I think I might have to take a pick. And I will go for Stoneham, I think. Let's see what happens. So only 8 or so riders in this small group. Here comes the downhill. Anyone going to take advantage of the super tuck? So Shannon and Taft ahead of Stoneham at this stage. Shannon briefly went into super tuck there. Stoneham's not. He's still pedalling. Taft's in the super tuck. And it obviously was a good tactic. It's pulled Stoneham ahead, but the others have rapidly caught up now. Just that little bit of recovery does make a big difference. So Stoneham trailing Taft and Shannon. Shannon's out the front. The finish line is going to come into view very shortly. Stoneham back in front now. All sitting there in the group. No one wants to make an attack at this stage, so it will be the sprint in just a second. They will see the finish line. Stoneham's going at 11.6 watts per kilo. That's, I think, way more than the others will typically produce. Overtakes Shannon and Taft, pulls ahead. He has power up, nicely timed, and it looks as if it's going to be Stoneham followed by Shannon, then Taft. That's the finishing order there. Move quickly back to the field. Civita just cruising home at 1 watt. I think that's his intention at this stage. In the C's now. And these, just as a reminder, most have already finished, as they only completed only, but they did 3 laps as opposed to 4. There's Nixon. Let's see, who is he with? Nixon, I can see White, 16 seconds further ahead. No sign of Littlewood. I'm sure he's there somewhere. See if I can find him. And not for too long. And May further back. So I suspect Littlewood to be further ahead. And in fact, he may have finished already. There he is, in fact. So Littlewood is leading the C's by the looks of it. At 28 kilometers. Certainly has pulled ahead of Nixon. Time of 44.30 is coming up to 3.8 watts per kilo, so he's pushing on here. No hanging about. Great competitive spirit. And I don't think anyone's going to catch Littlewood from GGCC. So I will let him off the finish line, just round the corner, and I'll have a look backwards to see White and Nixon. So White is about 30 seconds further back, and Nixon a further 23 behind him. So Littlewood's done very well, actually. I'd expected Nixon to do quite well today, but that hasn't worked out for whatever reason. White has been going from strength to strength as well, moved up through the D's fairly recently and into the C's. So I don't think there's going to be any change of positions between here and the finish line. So it was was Littlewood, White, and then Nixon. So White will see the finish line in just a moment. And there is Nixon 25 seconds further back. I have a quick look and see who else I can find. There are still some riders out there. There's Lord in the downhill, taking advantage of the super tuck. And I haven't seen Jones recently, or May. A quick scan through just to see if we can pick up anyone else. No, we've got a runner now, that's no good. May at 26.6 kilometers on the last climb. No sign of Jones. It's Civitar. Oh, in fact, he's a lap further back than when I reported earlier. See, he really is just cruising along. So Civitar, May and Lord are on course still. No sign of Jones. He may have finished, or Telford. They may well have finished with the main D group or just behind it. So I will leave the racing for this evening. Check. So finally we finish off tonight with Lord, just crossing the start-finish line. One more lap to go. I'll leave the racing there for this evening. Thank you all for watching. The next race is on Thursday evening. I think it will be the earlier time of, I think it's 7:10, something like that. But I'm sure you can check that. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.